think I'll be ready.
Oh.
I think it'll be just fine.
Draft position trades make it look like there's going to be a run on quarterbacks ahead of the Bengals. I think they've narrowed it down to 3 players. What is up, Bengals fam? It's Mike coming back at you with another Hoot Daily on a Monday. It's March 29th, and we had some news last week, right? That get some draft rearrangements, right? San Francisco moved up ahead of the Bengals. They gave up a lot of draft capital to move up to number 3. You don't do that unless you're going to pick a quarterback, right? So I think you can slot in at least 3 quarterbacks going ahead of the Bengals. And what does that mean, really? Well, what that means is they're going to have their pick of BPA outside of quarterback. And I think, based on some mock drafts I've been seeing, that they are going that's down to basically 3 players. So let's take a look at some of these mock drafts that came out after the trade, right? So what we're looking at here is the mock draft from Ryan Wilson, right? He's a CBS analyst, right? And you can see the chalk pick at Trevor Lawrence. And then the Jets going Zach Wilson. Those 2 are kind of settling into being the consensus for 1 and 2, definitely 1. But then you see he's got the 49ers taking Mac Jones. This is a surprise to me. I like Mac Jones. I think he's fine, but I don't think he's the 3rd best quarterback in this draft class. But, you know, that doesn't matter to the Bengals. If they're the 49ers are going quarterback, whether it's Mac Jones or Justin Fields or Trey Lance, whoever it is, they're going quarterback there, right? So what's interesting here is he has Ryan Wilson has the Falcons going Penei Sewell, and then followed right up with the Bengals taking Rashawn Slater, with Jamar Chase and Kyle Pitts sitting on the board, right? I'm not sure about this. Okay, here's the thing. I like Rashawn Slater. I think he is a top 10 pick. I don't think he's a top 5 pick. However, there are a lot of things to like about Rashawn Slater. First and foremost, he is the most technically sound tackle or offensive lineman in this class. He is a technician when it comes to technique and hand placement and using his leverage to keep himself between the defense and the quarterback. The issue, and what I also know, another thing I like about him is he can play any spot across the line. Another thing the Bengals should really value. And not only that, but he's proven he can play at those spots. So I don't mind Rashawn Slater, but man, if Sewell goes at 4, with how deep this offensive line class is, and knowing that you can get somebody like a Alex Leatherwood, or maybe a Sam Cosmi, or even maybe a Creed Humphrey in the 2nd round, going Rashawn Slater at number 5, man. I mean, I know they need offensive linemen, but I also know the Bengals internally, the Bengals believe they have 4 of the 5 offensive line slots locked up, right? They've got Jonah Williams and Riley Reef playing tackle. They've got Trey Hopkins at center, and they've got Quentin Spain playing left guard. I think they're completely comfortable with those 4 guys, and they should be. Those are good players. Those are guys that can get you, if they stay healthy and stay on the field and play as a unit, they can get you to at least league average. And now you're just looking at that right guard. Rashawn Slater can play right guard, but you can get Alex Leatherwood to play right guard in the 2nd round, probably at maybe not. Well, actually, you know what? I'm not going to project there. Alex Leatherwood may end up being a better pro than Rashawn Slater. We just don't know. But the fact to ask the question means this may be a little bit of a reach, just positionally, kind of tactically, how you want to do your picks in this draft, right? So I just don't see the Bengals doing this. I mean, I could be wrong. If Penei Sewell goes at 4, I see them going. They would have their pick in this draft. If this were to happen, they would have their pick of any of the offensive weapons on the board. They could go Jamar Chase. They could go Kyle Pitts. They could go even. They could even go Jalen Waddle if you wanted. I mean, but they have their options there to go. You know, they're going to get their pick of every offensive weapon for Joe Burrow that they want here. because I think the only thing that should stop them from going that route and going an offensive weapon is if Penei Sewell's gone, which he is here. And so if he's there, this isn't as bad, but if you guys remember when they drafted Billy Price, they really wanted Frank Ragnow. He went right before Billy Price, right? And then they kind of reached a little bit to get Billy Price. It was a reach. I said it at the moment they did it. I said after Ragnow went, I was at the TV, don't take Billy Price here. And they did it. But this isn't like that because this is a top 5 pick. Rashawn Slater is going to be good. He's not going to flop. He's not going to be Billy Price. So, I wouldn't hate this, and you shouldn't hate this either. If they take Rashawn Slater at 5, yeah, it's like, it's a coulda, shoulda, woulda thing, because if Jamar Chase or Kyle Pitts goes off next year with a lesser quarterback than Joe Burrow with whoever picks, it's going to be like, and be tough to swallow. But let's move on to the next kind of version of the draft that's interesting. This is from PFF's Mike Renner. And Mike Renner, PFF's actually headquartered, I don't know if you knew this, they're headquartered in Cincinnati. That's why they work with Chris Collinsworth a lot, because Chris Collinsworth area. But just because they live in Cincinnati doesn't mean they have any more insight into what the Bengals are going to do live in Cincinnati. Just because they're headquartered in Cincinnati doesn't mean they have any more insight. But they do, I think they have the best formula in the business for calculating positional value. And they use those positional value calculations to do their mock drafts. And so here you have, again, those 1 and 2, Lawrence and Wilson. That's becoming kind of the chalk for 1 and 2. They have San Francisco. Fields, I think that's more likely. I think Fields is more likely than Mac Jones. But again, for the Bengals, doesn't matter. PFF did trades in their draft, though, and they have New England trading up to that Atlanta spot, which you've heard rumblings. People are looking for trades to move up into the top 5 with either with Atlanta or Cincinnati to move up and get a quarterback. In this instance, the Patriots were able to move up to get Trey Lance as their quarterback of the future, right? And this is what's great. This is what's interesting. Now, at this point, 4 quarterbacks go ahead of the Bengals. They have their pick of BPA non-quarterback, and Mike Renner and Pro Football Focus thinks in this instance they should take Kyle Pitts. This is probably closer to how I would think about it. If you've got your pick of the lot, right? Even if it's Sewell's sitting there. In this instance, I don't think anyone's trading up to 5 to get Mac Jones right here. If the 4 quarterbacks are gone, it's going to be, whoever picks next in the order wants to trade up, but nobody's trading up to 5. You got to give up too much stuff to come up and get your quarterback there. The Bengals will sit pat. And if they take Kyle Pitts, I will be ecstatic. I'll love that pick because Kyle Pitts is essentially a big wide receiver that can block. He would be... Look, he's better than... you guys love Tyler. I know that the Bengals fans loved Tyler Eifert's rookie year. And I did too. Everyone... Kyle Pitts will be better than Tyler Eifert in his rookie year. That's a big prediction, but that's what I think. As a pass catcher, especially Joe Burrow throwing him the football, this would be huge because now all of a sudden you have to account for Kyle Pitts and your safeties have to pay attention to him. And if your safeties are paying attention to Kyle Pitts, that's going to give Boyd and Higgins all the room they need to operate to get open. It would make a huge difference. There's going to be, so after these 7 picks here, there's going to be a run on offensive linemen some point in this draft because there's too deep of an offensive line class for there to not be. However, the Bengals know and should understand that there aren't going to be 10 or 12 offensive linemen taken in the first round. So that means, and this class is so deep that the 10th and 10 through 12 offensive line in this class are going to be pretty dang good. In fact, I put down there at the bottom, this is a 3-round mock draft, by the way, and they did it with trades, so you can go check that out at Pro Football Focus if you want. But in the second round, they have, in this instance, the Bengals taking Alex Leatherwood at number 38. They have him available. So going Pitts in the first round to get that field stretching elite tight end, which basically all the teams in the playoffs this year and for the past several years have had elite tight end play, right? And the Bengals haven't had that since Tyler Eifert's rookie season, essentially. And so you bring in an elite tight end, and then you get the guy that can come in and slot in and play right guard for you, and and this is a good thing, by the way. I think this is much better than the last one we looked at. Now let's take a look at the last one that I wanted to talk about, and it's Lance Zierlein's NFL.com mock draft, right? Again, chalk, Wilson, Lawrence Wilson. Then he has San Francisco taking Lance. This is where it gets crazy, though. He has Atlanta taking Patrick Surtain, and I haven't seen Patrick Surtain is probably the best corner in this draft.
I don't believe you.
I don't think it's not a consensus. A lot of people have Caleb Farley. Surtain is in the conversation, but man, number 4 is that's a lot of draft collateral to use on a corner, number 4 overall pick. But we've seen crazier things than that. And then Lance Zierlein has what I think is the consensus of most mock drafts you're going to look at. Most mock drafts are going to look at it. They're going to have the Bengals taking Sewell if he's sitting there, right? If Atlanta goes Surtain or trades out or goes some other player, they're probably going to go Sewell. I mean, that's just what people seem to think. And look, this would be, I don't know if you've watched Penei Sewell's tape. If you a tape of his, I can't remember who. It may have been Joe Goodberry. There were some tweets going around of analyzing Penei Sewell's worst graded PFF, like worst graded game per PFF, back when he was 18 years old in his rookie year, and it was right around a 65 or so, and he only had, I think, 10 true pass sets in that game, and he gave up one pressure on those 10 true pass sets, which meant that it was a 90% success rate, which is why that success rate is factored into the grade, and that's probably why it was lowered down. But I mean, even in his worst game, I saw he basically looked like still a first-round draft pick in his worst graded game, right? So, and Penei Sewell is a guy that everyone's gonna love that pick. Essentially, no one's gonna beat you up for taking Penei Sewell. His upside is too high. He's young. He's mean. He's big. He's just the kind of offensive lineman that you're going to want. That Alex Leatherwood thing is actually left over from the PFF. Don't worry about that. I forgot to take that off. This was just a one-round mock. But you can see they have, after Sewell goes, they have Miami taking Jamar Chase and Detroit taking Devontae Smith. All pretty possible things, right? But I think at the end of the day, what we should be focused on as Bengals fans is these trades that are happening are people to move up. This is a quarterback-heavy draft, and it's also an offensive line-heavy and wide receiver-heavy class. Those are good things because those are the Bengals' needs, right? And because it's quarterback-heavy, you're going to have a lot of people moving up ahead of the Bengals to take those quarterbacks, meaning they're going to get their pick of the lot, essentially, outside of quarterback because they got their dude, Joey B. By the way, I love it. Twitter. I love Joe Burrow's Twitter. Well, if you're not following him, guys, it's just at Joey B. Just living his life, just does my heart good. Love seeing it. Anyway, that's Who Daily for today on a Monday, March 29th. Love you guys. Thanks for hanging around, and we'll see you next time. Big time Who Day from your boy Mike.